Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and today I wanted to talk on something that I was just recently notified of, and it is, it does pain me a bit to touch on this, and again, I want to read just a little bit here from a screenshot that I'm going to be showing you here in a moment. But I was just recently notified that my buddy, I consider an in-game friend, Ghost, who at least as of recording this video, I have to check the rankings real quick, was right the number one strongest player in the game. Now pretty much right back and forth with Midas, and ended up hearing that he is going to be stepping away for some time. And this also kind of leads into another topic, which is that we've been hearing that, some players from SS1-1 are quitting or slowing down, their gameplay, whether it's due to, them being bored, not knowing what to do. We've heard things such as lack of events as an example, and so this was something I wanted to touch on, and I just want to show you guys this, and then I want to say something personal, right, about my experience with Ghost and just how great of a person he's been. Right, he says, I just wanted to say thank you for all the love and respect you have given me. My time here is now done, and I will be leaving the game. I want to say thank you, especially to our Burn PHL King members who stuck with me throughout. I wish you all the best of luck for the future, and I will always be available on Discord if you need me. Right, mentioning that he may be gifting his account or not. This was something that I just wanted to show. Ghost to me has always been a very stand-up person, not only through personal conversations that I've had with him throughout our time when I had first met him, reaching out over in Kingdom 1 as the first beta server, but also in SS1-1, and then even the time kind of transitioning and leading up to that. And so, I've always appreciated, Ghost. There's even been multiple times where, I've reached out to Ghost and, he was very willing to assist me in providing some information or, doing some testing, obviously when he had time, and other players have as well. And, so for me, I always want to kind of give that credit where credit is due. Because, in my experience, it's not too often that you meet spenders, right? Especially, higher spenders, right? More heavy-ish spenders, at least on that end. And obviously there's a range there where, they're very active in the game. They're invested in the game, not just from a monetary standpoint, but from an engagement standpoint. They're also they're social, right? They enjoy the community engagement. That to me is a nice triple threat that I love to see myself. And so again, just wanted to give a nice shout out to Ghost, and obviously whatever he may do, right? If we end up seeing him back during global launch, or if maybe he'll just kind of be with us in thoughtful memory and be hanging around the CoD Discord, right? Make sure you guys shoot Ghost some love on the CoD Discord, in Gen Chat, in-game if you're in there, and definitely just wish him the best, because I do. And now I want to touch on something that is kind of not directed at Ghost or anyone else there, but I want to touch on this topic that is players. Again, however, I don't know what the numbers are, right? But some people have said that some players have been leaving or quitting because of lack of events and lack of things to do and not knowing. This to me, this may come off somewhat harsh, but it's really going to be more, again, constructive criticism and love from this standpoint. Is that right? Bear in mind, as a player, unless you have maxed out your Dragon Trail, you've maxed out your tech, you have all your buildings at 25, you have max skilled out all the heroes that you want to use, and this is just to name some things, right? These are milestones that, again, if you're not at, that, oh gosh, whatever it is, right? 60 mil plus or somewhere around there. I have to look up what it is for all the T5s again. But unless you've gotten to that point where you basically have a maxed account, you're at VIP 15, then okay, you can tell me at that point that you don't have anything left to do, right, from your individual account. And there's probably only a few people who can really say that and understand that, okay, hey, you're at a point now where it's all right, well, what is there, kind of left to do, so to speak, at that point, right? And I think that the minimum is around 57. I'm just looking it up right now, around 57.5 to 58 mil, right, give or take, to have all T5s unlocked. That I don't believe that accounts for all. I do believe that should account for having all tech maxed. But anyways, I digress. Is that these are things that as an individual you should be striving for. And if you are not at that power level yet, then respectfully, given the game is in beta, I don't want to hear about how you think that there's not enough events or there's not enough things. Trust me, there are things to do. Max your account out. Grind out the dailies and min-max it every single day that you can. That is something to do. And for what I've seen, there's only a handful of players that are at that, 57.5, 58 million threshold or above. And I don't even know if all of those players have maxed out, all the areas on their account as of yet. They're probably closer than those that are under that, of course, but I'm unsure if all of them have. Now, I also want to say this, is that there will be more events, just like there will be more heroes added. There will be more features and maybe some new game modes. There will be things, right? Whether it's all of those, if it's some of those, if it's other things that are not what I just named off, that will come in due time, right? This is really, what we have to understand is that this game is gaining popularity because of the current features and in-game mechanics, the system that is set up, how good the PvP is, and more for what currently exists. It just so happens that we're in beta. And we still have, 45, give or take, days until, at least as of recording this video, days until the game comes to global, right? Pending it doesn't get pushed back forward, or maybe pushed forward in that regard. So from there, this is why it is important to have a realistic understanding of where the game is currently, right? Also, remembering that they do have quite a few events. If I just go, right, I'd have to go over to RoK and see how many events they have total. But I can tell you there's, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 for heating, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So there's 23 events right now that I see with, one of those, I believe, one or two of those being new account, two of them being new account events. So you got 21 repetitive events currently that are happening. Now, if I was to go, let's just, just because I'm already here, I'm just going to type in RoK events, right? Let's look at how many events RoK currently has based on where it is so we can get an idea. So, outside of starting the game, right? So we have, I'm not going to count Ark of Osiris because that's more of a mode. I'm just talking like an in-game actual event. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for bricks. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 Holy Conqueror. 20, 21, I have to go past that. Here we go, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Oh, no, sorry. 35, 36, 37. So 37. So there's 37 events right now in RoK, and the game's been out 3.5 years, right, give or take. And you have 21 events currently, right? That's more than half of what RoK has. And we still have some time before the game hits global release. Right now, there might be one or two more events in CoD that I'm not accounting for, so I just want to state that there could be a little margin of error there because, again, some of the events might be in SS1-1 that are not in Season 1 for a Kingdom, and I'm still going through Kingdom 7 as my exhibit when I'm mapping out all of the events. So just something to note. But again, I still believe that the logic and the rationale there holds true is that, again, give it some time. And when I look at the event, I don't think that there's an undervalue or a low amount of events. What I see is that the game is in beta, and they're not trying to add 10 new events every update. That just doesn't make sense, right? You want some longevity there, and you don't just want to give everyone all the cookies in the cookie jar right away, right? You give them one cookie every other day or once a week or something as, oh, hey, right here's, a nice good reward or something for being on your best behavior as an example. And the way that you're doing updates when you're releasing new events and new heroes, this is the way to do it, right? Infinity Kingdom as another example did something similar to this where they didn't just come out with a plethora or a surplus of events and heroes right away. They trickled them in over a period of time. And this is how you do it. I love what CoD has been doing so far. And this is also, and now I want to really hit something here that is going to be somewhat mind-blowing to some players, is that the other side of it is that it can be boring and it can be tiring when you're in a non-unified kingdom. In a kingdom where you basically have alienated half of the alliances, and then the other half of the alliances either have to decide, hey, now we're in like the winning side, right? If you look at SS1-1's example, it's either and this is why, right? And this is something that majority of players may not understand because it really factors into more kingdom management, is that because TA, POS, OFUX, GRZ won the war against 4BD1, 4BDN, and T45, you basically at this time have alienated those three alliances and then any other players and alliances that are not in Zone 3. Because who doesn't want to make it to Zone 3? Everyone wants to make it to Zone 3. So when you go to war and you're basically pushing them out saying, hey, you're not here, yeah, that's going to be demotivating for people. Again, this is why kingdom management is a real thing. This is and I want to point out the way that SS1-1 is played out is pretty standard across kingdom builders when you end up having resources that players want, and they're basically just hitting you with the my germs, right? Because they want it. And at times you have to understand there's a want versus a need. The want is more of a short-term want. It typically is, where you'll have alliances and or players that just want all the best things, whether it's resources, if it's, in this case, behemoth layers, if it's having Zone 3 access, better RSS gathering, etc. And better RSS income for your alliance, again, etc. Versus the long-term need, which is need for sustainability. So it doesn't get boring. So you don't get tired. So you don't get fed up with, you have to keep it interesting. And it requires work to do that. Not on the developer side, right? That will come in due time. But it requires work on your side, the player's side, the top alliances side, the managing groups side in that kingdom. And that's the thing. That is the golden nugget that I'm giving you right now, that I can guarantee you've probably never heard before from any creator, to my knowledge, right? Ever. I mean, I would be astonished if someone else has said exactly what I've just said, because you have to look at the game not just from, this is a war game, or, I'm just going to go out here and fight and it's all about PvP. No. There is an entire management side that goes into organizing, structuring, coordinating every single player in a kingdom. And the biggest challenge is that the majority of players do not even see this as being a real thing, as something that anyone has to do. But if you did do it, what you would realize and what you would come to find out from someone like myself and others that I can speak of who do operate and work in these capacities for kingdom management is that it will garner you and grant you, if you do it appropriately, better kingdom longevity and sustainability. You'll have more engagement, you'll have more social communication, you'll have more player integration on actually them being invested in your kingdom and wanting to show up, wanting to log in every day, wanting to do things. But there are it's not necessarily right and wrong ways to go about it, but there's choices, and those choices and or actions have repercussions, right? Or let me say that, can have repercussions. And this just happens to be one of them, right? I can absolutely say without a doubt in my mind that because the way that SS1-1 has played out, even though it did benefit some alliances thus far and a group of players, as I said before, it alienated the other group of players, which is, almost half of your activity and your engagement within the kingdom. And because that activity and that engagement has now been somewhat demoralized and demotivated, that is now trickling to the winning side, right? Now, it just depends on how much of that trickle will it affect. But these are all ripple effects that happen. And again, most people don't know these things because they don't look at the game from a management perspective or outside of just I'm an individual player playing and just playing the game for what it is, right? There's so much more that goes into this. And this is just a form of psychological pressure that is applying somewhat in an indirect, unseen way, because the majority of players just don't see this for what it is because most of them just don't know, right? I mean, again, the average player doesn't get involved in kingdom management. They don't get involved with kingdom policies. They don't get involved with trying to analyze trends and trying to understand why certain things happen the way they do, right? And thankfully, I spent a good portion of my time doing this across multiple kingdom builders, from being a player all the way up to a kingdom manager. And these are very real things. And there are also things that most developers, and this isn't a slight or a shot at the CoD developers for Farlight and or Lilith. It's just the fact of what it is that most developers do not necessarily invest or do research on the psychological implications applications of what the actual player is going through on a day-to-day basis. And this is a very real thing because it factors in so heavily into if a player in general will continue to play your game or not, and how invested, how engaged, how socially communicated will they be? Will they transfer and end up joining your Discord or your Facebook, right? How does this transition over to your social community platforms? And more, right? This even goes into will they spend money on your game or not? Right, and it really is far-reaching. Oh gosh, man, I feel like I should just basically just sit here and just give like a master class on this stuff. Yeah, it is. I mean, to me, it's always been fascinating, and I love being able to share some of these insights with the community. And I hope that the example of what you're seeing here from me explained in SS1-1 is a great Exhibit A, because they really are a great Exhibit A example of how a standard approach to kingdom builders in kingdoms happens, and then what some of those repercussions can be, right? Now, obviously, if they end up introducing migration, which we've been hinted at that they will, then you can replenish some of that. But usually when you're doing that through migration, it's never going to be the same as if you have homegrown, if you have a homegrown player base, right? A community-sourced player base, right? Because those players have not been there since the beginning, so they don't know all the history. And yeah, it's great to be able to kind of replenish your ranks and refill your blood supply in that regard. It is just different, right? That's the best way I can put it. All right, that is it for me. Did not realize this video was going to be this long. Again, I really want to hear what you guys think, right? For those of you that maybe are familiar with some of the things I'm hinting on, if you're not, and this is just a nice fresh insight for you, I want to hear anything. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Why or why not? Do you understand where I'm coming from? Do you see it differently? Let me know in the comments down below. That is going to be it for me. As always, until next time, I'll catch you later.